They show me how many minutes are left, right?
Yes.
Not how many have gone by.
And look for her, she's the one. There is a remote if you want to use it around there. Look for the lectern over here.
Oh. Hello everyone, my name is Hagen, and I did my speech on the rise of ISIS in Syria and the plight of the refugees. And so, just 2 weeks ago, on September 19th and 20th, 100,000 people in Syria lost their homes because ISIS came in and captured 69 villages. And so these refugees fled to Turkey, and they now don't have their homes because of ISIS and the situation over there. And so my speech is going to focus on that, the Syrian civil war and how ISIS moved in, what the U.S. response is to that, and then third, what the refugees are like and what refugees camps are like in ISIS. And so the Syrian civil war started in 2011, and it started when a bunch of rebel groups decided to try to capture and take down the government, but there's too many different groups of rebels, and they all fight each other, and so there's no unity, and so nothing has been done, and it's just escalated the situation, and there's just a lot of turmoil and conflict and instability because all these little groups are fighting each other as well as the government. And so this situation and this political instability made the situation really easy for ISIS to come in. And so what is ISIS? ISIS is a very extreme, fanatical Muslim terrorist group that actually used to be a part of Al-Qaeda, but it split from Al-Qaeda because they were too violent even for Al-Qaeda. So that just gives you a picture of how brutal they are, because Al-Qaeda is also very brutal. And so they are Sunni Muslims, and there's two kinds of Muslims. There's Sunni and Shiite, and they're like ethnic groups. And so ISIS is Sunni, and they started out by fighting the Shiite government of Iraq, and that's kind of what started the ill feelings. There's been centuries and centuries of Sunnis versus Shiites. And so most of ISIS is, like I said, Sunni, and they fight the Shiite Iraqi government, and they want their own government. They want to take that down, but they're also expanding now with moving into Syria, and they want to create their own state. They want to take land from Iraq and Syria and create their own Muslim state. And so they are funded through extortion of the oil industry. That's where they get a lot of their money from, is, extorting the oil and the oil trade and all of that. So they also, this is a map of kind of the land that they want to take over. This is Iraq, this is Syria, and so this is their projected what they want to make their own country. And then, like I said, they target minorities. So the group, the 100,000 people that just got kicked out of their homes because of ISIS were called the Kurds, and that's just a small ethnic group kind of over here in Syria. They also target Jews, and they target Christians in mass killings and genocide. So that's kind of who ISIS is, and that's all. I found all that information from Fox News and CNN News as well. And so then my next point is kind of the U.S. response to the crisis. So the U.S. kind of started off more passive, trying to see what's going on. So they started out with airstrikes over the militarized areas of Syria and Iraq, but now they've kind of expanded as it's gotten bigger and the crisis has escalated. The U.S. has increased their airstrikes and has also sent off a small detachment of troops to train a Syrian army and train an Iraqi army because they want their own people to fight against ISIS, as opposed to sending a mass amount of American soldiers. So that's kind of what they're doing, but it's tricky because the timeline is, ISIS is moving really quickly, and that would take a lot of time, and so the situation is kind of, we don't really know exactly what to do, and that's happening right now, so I don't know exactly what's going on with that. But yes, so that is from the So then also the UN and the US have sent a lot of aid, because obviously with millions of people crossing the border, the Turkish government doesn't know what to do with them, and so the UN and the US have sent over a lot of aid for the refugee camps. And so from the UN agency, there's 21 different camps that have been set up in Turkey in 11 different provinces. And so they are catering, these numbers are old, but now the numbers are over 1,300,000 people have fled into Turkey, and I'm not sure about the surrounding countries, but over 1,300,000 Syrians have fled because of the crisis and because of ISIS moving in. And so that's an incredible amount of people for Turkey to take in over like the last 2 years. And so their economy, their politics, everything is affecting the entire nation of Turkey. And so these are pictures of the the refugee camp set up by the UN, and so they were built really quickly, and they weren't built to withstand winter, and they weren't built to, so they need $2 million more dollars. They put in billion in the last couple of years, but they need another $2 billion by the end of this year to make the camps withstand the winter storms and all of that. And so the process of being a refugee is kind of a big deal. They search all of your belongings, search everything that you have with you. You don't have them because you just left your home. But they vaccinate the children, which is really good because it prevents the spread of disease. And they also give you documentation to take the Turkish government if you want to find a job, which is really hard for them to find jobs because the Turkish people want to give jobs to Turkish people as opposed to the millions of Syrians that are just coming over the border. So basically, it's really hard. Like, as refugees, their camps are overcrowded, they're poorly built, there's not enough sanitation or medical supplies or anything like that. And so that is kind of what the situation is over there. So in conclusion, ISIS has been able to move into Syria and take over because of the political instability caused by the civil war. And the U.S. has moved against ISIS with airstrikes and preliminary sending of troops over there, and refugees across the border face horrible situations in which they're fleeing for their lives and they're fleeing for their safety. And so I challenge you all to be informed, just to know what's going on, because this is a really big deal, and 100,000 people lost their homes in only 2 days, and that's like a fifth of Albuquerque just gone in 2 days. And so I just challenge you guys to know about that, because it does affect our lives and it does affect America directly or indirectly. And so thank you for your time.